Hi, I'm Gordon from Camera Labs, and this is my review of the INSTAX Mini LiPlay Plus, a hybrid instant camera that can output INSTAX mini prints. Launched in October 2025, it comes 1 year after the previous model, but represents a more substantial upgrade than its predecessor did. This latest version is available in two colours, sand beige and midnight blue, and costs around £190. Dollar and current prices linked in description. Meanwhile, INSTAX Mini works out about 85 cents or 75 pence a print when bought in typical twin packs with 20 prints. Each print contains the chemicals required to process it, so there's no need for any additional ink. Like other hybrid models in the INSTAX range, the Mini LiPlay Plus is both a camera and a printer. As before, the camera is digital, allowing you to compose and review with a screen on the back, and store pictures in internal memory or on a removable card. You can then choose which, if any, images to actually print, or connect the camera to your phone and use it as a wireless printer for any pictures that you have stored on there, whether taken with your phone, downloaded, or transferred from a more serious camera. New to the Mini LiPlay Plus is a second camera on the rear for selfies, a larger screen than its predecessor, albeit now matching the current Evo in size, and enhanced fun modes that include the chance to link sound clips or slideshows to prints with QR codes. In this review, I'll show you how they all work, compare the photo quality to a phone, and make sense of which models in the series are going to be best for you. At first glance, the Mini LiPlay Plus looks a lot like the previous model, with the main camera surrounded by a boxy frame, albeit now lacking the selfie mirror of previous models. The image quality appears to be the same as before though, so you're getting 5 megapixel images from a 1/5 inch type sensor with a 28mm equivalent f2 lens that can autofocus from 10 cm to infinity. So it's lower resolution than most phones, but more than enough to make INSTAX prints. The shutter release is now smaller and shinier than before, while eagle-eyed INSTAX spotters will notice the audio button has gone from the front, while the LED flash is relocated from the side of the lens to near the logo at the top. Turn the camera around and you'll find the screen dominating the rear panel, now larger than before at 3 inch and with 920k dots. This is your only means of composition, and in bright light I did find it became harder to view and I couldn't find any means of increasing the brightness, at least when I was looking through the menus. Below the screen are 4 buttons flanking a clickable control ring, which I'll show you in just a moment, but the major new feature is above the screen, a new camera dedicated to selfies, the first for any INSTAX hybrid camera. This shares the same 5 megapixel resolution as the front camera, but coupled with a wider 23mm equivalent f2.2 lens. Now that has fixed focus that effectively covers a range of 41 cm to infinity. I'm not sure the size of the selfie camera's sensor, and you'll also note that there's no LED flash on the rear, so in dim conditions you may actually prefer to blindly use the front camera instead. Selfies are also going to be handheld or with the camera balanced on something, as in the absence of a tripod thread below the body, you're not going to be mounting it on a tripod. On one side of the body you'll find 2 buttons, one to power the camera on and off, and the other to switch between the front and rear cameras. The ability to now compose selfies with the screen on the back is way more accurate than relying on the old selfie mirror on the front of previous or simpler INSTAX models, but again there's no flash that's dedicated for it. You'll also notice the slider to the right of the selfie camera, which pops open the entire back of the camera in order to load INSTAX mini cartridges. Unlike the analog cameras though, there's no indication whether a film is already loaded or not unless you power up the camera and check the screen, so do be careful. Loading film is as simple as other models though. Just line up the yellow markers on the cartridge in the compartment, push it in, then close the door with a solid click. The camera then outputs the disposable safety sheet from a slot at the top, and you're good to go, with a number of prints remaining indicated in the corner of the screen. Behind a flap on the other side of the camera are 2 ports, USB-C for charging the internal battery, it won't do anything else, and a slot for micro SD memory cards. If you don't use a memory card though, you're going to be relying on internal memory, which has got space for about 45 pictures. Unfortunately though, getting these pictures out of the camera can be a bit of a challenge. First, you can't access them over USB, and second, as far as I could see in my test so far, you can't view them using the phone app either, unless you've printed them first. Any images that have been printed though are automatically copied into the app, after which you can export them as digital files if you like, albeit at a pretty low res of about 1/3 of a megapixel and with the graphic frame applied as seen here. Fine for sharing on socials, but not really suitable for printing any larger. The only solution to access full quality images, as far as I could see, is to use a microSD card. Now this not only hugely expands the number of images you can take, but also gives you direct access to the original images with a card reader. Now there may end up being a workaround for accessing the files in internal memory, but the microSD route is going to be way easier. As for the battery, it's built in with Fujifilm claiming enough charge to make 100 prints. In actual use, I was able to take around 100 digital photos, some with the sound features I'll show you in a moment, and I made 10 prints with it before the battery ran out. Once the battery does run out, you're just going to need to recharge it over USB-C. You could do that in a portable environment with a power bank, but you may have to factor that in if you're thinking about using this for events. When you switch the camera on, you're presented with a reminder of what the buttons do. Push the control wheel right and you can set the flash on, off or auto, but again remember it's only for the front camera. Push left and you can set a 2 or 10-second self timer, although again remember there's no tripod thread to keep it in place. Push up and you can overlay one of 13 frames inherited from the previous model. Some, like Party, Foliage and Colour Filter, overlay a more traditional frame around the edges, while others like Crown, Thank You, Bunny Ears and Balloons overlay simpler graphics you can try to line up with the actual subject as you compose for fun results, and this is now much easier for selfies thanks to the rear camera. There's also a couple of photo-in-photo options which show pretend prints with windows in them to the actual live view behind them. As before, my favourite frame is the focused option, which overlays manga style lines to highlight the subject in the middle. Push down on the control wheel and you can apply the same 6 filter effects as the previous model: stylish, vivid, fisheye, poster, black and white and sepia. You can combine any frame with any filter effect if desired, and as before you can access more via the app, but unlike the previous model there's no extra buttons on the camera to customise with your favourites. At any point, whether in capture or playback, you can push the printer button to the left of the control wheel to output a physical print. This is accompanied by a cute animation showing the photos sliding up the screen to line up with the physical print emerging from the top. Meanwhile, pushing the musical note button to the lower right of the wheel cycles through the 4 shooting modes. Mode 1 is for normal shooting, after which you can access INSTAX Sound Print. This records up to 3 seconds of audio using the built-in microphone just before and just after the photo has been captured. The sound can then be heard during playback at the seaside or linked with a QR code on a print. You will need to practice a couple of times though to know exactly when the audio is captured. For the QR link to work though, you are first going to have the free LiPlay app installed on your phone and connected to the camera over Bluetooth. Then when you print an INSTAX sound print, the camera automatically connects to your phone in order to upload the audio clip to Fujifilm servers, where it will remain available for 2 years. Anyone who then scans the QR code on the print within those 2 years will see the image with a chance to hear the audio clip. You can try it here, so long as you do it before October 2027. INSTAX sound prints aren't just for photos taken with the camera in the field. Using the app on your phone, you can choose any photo you have on there before then recording a new audio clip, Aurora in Iceland. That's then linked with a QR code on the print. Try scanning this one. Expanding on this is the third mode called INSTAX Sound Album. This encourages you to take 2 to 5 photos, during which the camera will also capture short clips of ambient sound. These are then assembled into a quick slideshow with a choice of music track. Here's one I made at the seafront in Brighton, where you can hear some of the background squawks of Steven Seagal. And as before, while you can play it back using the camera, it's more fun to make a print with a QR code linking it to the presentation. Again, you're going to have your phone connected when making the print, as the extra images and sound clips are going to be uploaded to Fujifilm servers, again with a 2-year lifespan. Here's one I made with an active QR code link to try out, again before October 2027 anyway. As before, it's also possible to generate your own INSTAX sound album using the app and any photos that you've got stored on your phone, again with the files being uploaded to Fujifilm. I made one here using photos I took with the GFX 100RF camera around Iceland, and once again you can check out how they look by scanning the QR code on the print here. By the way, if you are interested in seeing more of Iceland, I made a review of the GFX 100RF there on this channel, as well as a separate travel guide on my travel tips channel, both linked below. The fourth shooting option is layered photo mode, which first takes a selfie, using the rear selfie camera of course, before then inserting it within a choice of borders made with the main front camera. The idea here is to give your selfies more context by allowing the border to show some of your surroundings at the time. Although with only a small area around the selfie, your options are going to be limited. I actually found it was most successful visually when using real-life elements as abstract borders instead, but your mileage may vary. Moving on, the app continues to offer a remote control option for the camera, allowing you to preview the image from a distance, which could be useful for framing bigger group shots. This would have been more useful though if the camera had a tripod thread. Sorry to keep going on about that. And of course, you're still able to use the camera as a wireless printer for your phone, outputting any images that you have on there, whether they're taken with your phone, downloaded from anywhere, or transferred from a higher end camera. Suffice it to say, you can also overlay all manner of frames and graphics to these, apply various filter effects, as well as tweaking the brightness, the contrast, or the saturation before then making the print. As for the actual quality, the prints look pretty much like any other INSTAX printer or INSTAX hybrid camera. The two built-in cameras may only capture 5 megapixels, but again, this is more than sufficient for making the credit card-sized INSTAX mini prints. But what if you did want to use it as a non-printing camera? What do the actual digital images look like? To find out, here's a shot on the left taken with the LiPlay Plus on a micro SD card so I could access the original 5 megapixel image. Meanwhile, on the right is a shot I took moments later using my iPhone 16 Pro. At first glance, both actually look quite similar, with the biggest difference being the slightly wider coverage of the iPhone 16 Pro's main camera. But take a closer look and the difference in quality and resolved detail is dramatic. Unsurprisingly, the more expensive iPhone 16 Pro camera on the right is far superior, and it's going to be the preferred choice if you want to use digital files. But crucially, if you're only going to be sharing them on social media or outputting them on Instax Mini Film, they're going to look almost identical. How about their respective selfie cameras? Again, here's the LiPlay Plus on the left and the iPhone 16 Pro on the right. And again, the biggest initial difference is their field of view, although this time it's the LiPlay Plus that's capturing a wider field of view from the same distance. But take a closer look and again there is a big difference in quality, not just less detail from the LiPlay Plus, but lower dynamic range, and that's most obviously on the white building and the washed out sky, plus it's not been flipped horizontally either. Again, no big deal quality wise for a tiny Instax mini print, but if you do intend to use the files for anything more, you are going to get better results from most phones and may be better off with an Instax printer rather than an Instax camera. Now it's time to wrap up while sharing more photos from the LiPlay Plus. The Instax Mini LiPlay Plus is a fun and flexible hybrid camera that can take 5 megapixel digital photos with a choice of frame effects and make instant prints with optional QR codes that link to slideshows or audio clips. It also doubles up as a wireless printer for your phone. The big new feature is a selfie camera on the rear, which means you can now accurately compose using the main screen rather than having to guess with a tiny mirror on the front. Plus the screen is now bigger than the previous model. But do note there is only a flash for the front camera, so any selfies in low light may be compromised when using the rear camera. There's also no tripod thread, so you're going to be hand holding or balancing the camera somewhere. As always, any potential Instax buyer has to ask themselves two important questions. First, which is their preferred print shape, mini, square or wide? And second, do they want a simple and low-cost analog camera, a wireless printer for their phone, or a hybrid digital camera with a built-in printer? Now, if you've opted for the popular mini format though, there are actually two hybrid models to choose from with the same core quality and capabilities. You've got the Mini LiPlay Plus reviewed here and the Mini Evo, which I've previously reviewed on my channel. The Evo has more filter effects, while the LiPlay has more frame effects. The LiPlay now has a useful selfie camera and a more detailed screen, but for me the Evo with its more traditional camera design is just better looking. But looks aside, why can't we just have one model with all the effects and features? Why confuse the market? So while there are some reasons to go for one over the other, I think with the same core features, most of us would just go for whichever hybrid model is most affordable or in our favourite colour, and occasionally wonder to ourselves why they just didn't merge these two models. Meanwhile, if you're looking at Instax as a gift and want the lowest cost camera, the classic Mini, currently in version 12, is the one to go for, or the 41 for those who prefer a more serious vintage style. Or if you love the fully analog process but want more control, the Mini 99 remains a personal favourite. Or if you find the cameras are a novelty and just want to print from your phone, there's wireless printers in each of the 3 formats. And the good news is I've got reviews of every single model in the current Instax range. So whether you choose a camera, a printer or a hybrid, I've got you covered. So let me know in the comments which of the current Instax series has caught your eye and whether the new LiPlay Plus is on your shopping list. And if this photo is making you thirsty for a coffee, you may also enjoy my coffee channel where I review the best cafes around the world. Check it out at the link below and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.